welcome to the 21st edition of the Local Lowdown Podcast. My name is Zach Bischoff, and I am, as always, joined over there by.
Danny Shanholzer.
All right, thank you very much, Danny, and a very pleasant Friday evening to you. As we're recording this at 10:30 p.m. on Friday, or December the 1st. Happy December. Forgot to mention that to you. Can you believe it's already December?
I cannot believe it, Zach. Time flies when you're having fun, my friend.
Correct. And let's see here. So we got pens on up here first. Getting right into things. Danny, your thoughts on backtracking a little bit on the now on the Pens 3-2 loss in overtime to the Nashville Predators on a I'm gonna say BS interference non-call.
Yeah, Zach. That game in Nashville was very frustrating to uh, read about. I did not get a chance to watch that game, and I obviously from what I've seen uh, and what I've read, I can only imagine how the players were feeling because man oh man did we play a very very competitive even game against Nashville. We the Penguins always have a knack for battling. We always, even when we do lose, it's usually by a close margin. Because we find a way. As we're going to talk about here with the Tampa Bay game, which was incredible. Um, but the Penguins usually find a way, and they were on their way to doing that. They battled to 2-2 at the end of regulation, and then just 14 seconds into regulation, the Predators score on what looked to be a blatant and missed interference call. And I on on Sidney Crosby, which let them get a really free chance on Jerry there, and
Stop
ultimately
leaning. You're
with that.
leaning.
Oh yeah, I gotta stay in the middle.
Stay in the camera shot for the
Yeah. Yeah, no. That that was
Nope,
a
nope, other way. There
yeah.
you go.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Thank you, Zach.
You're
Always making
welcome.
sure I look central and everything like that. Appreciate it. Yeah, no. But yeah. Um, Penguins battled, and ultimately because of a missed interference call, came up short, man, which is unfortunate to see, especially because you know, on road trips, when we kind of in December, we're getting towards that midway point of the season. Uh, you don't want to leave points up for grabs. We've talked about on this podcast about how important the early points are. You got to start
Hmm.
racking them up. So that was a missed opportunity for the Penguins based on an issue that's really out of their control.
Also, Danny, it appears, and I thought even before the interference, I thought on the entry by by Nashville that the left winger was a step off sides. I thought that play should have been whistled immediately, even before the interference happened. So I think that both the refs and the linesmen both
Yeah.
both missed. It was not a good night for the men in stripes, and all night too. It was kind of you notice one official kind of taking control, which he was calling everything. I'm not sure what that was, um, but it seemed like that it was an oddly officiated hockey game. Now, moving to more positive notes, the Penguins uh, a couple of nights ago defeated the Tampa Bay Lightning by a score of 4-2 with not an empty net goal, but well, actually it was an empty net goal, but a Tristan Jory goalie goal, the first in Penguins history. Danny, your thoughts on first we'll get to goalie goal in a second. First, what changed in the first period when the Penguins played. Really, it was abysmal first 20 minutes of play, and then the second and third period they scored four unanswered goals en route to that comeback victory.
Yeah, Zach. I think the biggest thing, to that held the Penguins back and the first period, the first 20 minutes against Tampa, was
Mm-hmm.
just their inability to create chances. Man, I mean, I think that Tampa, one of their hallmarks is just being really solid on D. I mean, when you got Andre Vasilevsky as your goaltender, odds are pretty good that you're gonna you know not give up a ton of goals. And their defense was solid, and they we our forwards really couldn't get anything going in that first period, and that's why, as you mentioned, Zach, we are down 2-0. But Zach, what a big turn of events! You know that last 40 minutes, the Penguins came out, and they wanted to prove that they could come back against the Lightning, and come back they did in resounding fashion. I mean, Drew O'Connor getting us started, and Drew O'Connor's a guy that I like always just want to see more because I know he definitely has the talent to do that, but we've wanted to see the third line produce, and Drew O'Connor provided that. Jeff Carter got his first goal in a while. Carter's a super experienced guy. That's why Mike Sullivan loves having him. He's an experienced pro. I think Jeff Carter is a guy that, say what you will about his efficientness, of how effective he is sometimes, because sometimes he's not very effective. Sometimes he goes in droughts without scoring. But it always seems like when the Penguins need a goal, Jeff Carter somehow, some way, kind of find, even being one of the older, most senior members of this team. He sometimes finds a way when the Penguins need him most. And I mean, Zach, how about that Tristan Jarry goal, man? I mean,
Yeah,
uh, like obviously, eh, like you said, Zach. I mean, that's history for the Penguins. First goalie to do it in franchise history, and I
yep.
thought it was so cool too that after the game, Jarry, he was like, "Oh, I don't really practice it. It's no big deal."
He looked
Like,
like he practiced that one. He
exactly,
ripped it.
exactly.
He
And Zach,
ripped it down the ice.
No, exactly, Zach. And if I'm in his position, I am definitely. If I did that in an NHL game for the first time in Penguins franchise history, I would definitely do a bench pass and fist bump all the boys. Going, I mean, like
Oh
that.
yeah,
And Zach, I think that I think obviously him not doing that, and then him continuing to make a series of really good saves after that shows how much of a pro he is and why he's in that situation.
yeah,
And when he's healthy, Zach, that he can be really good.
yeah,
The biggest thing with Jari is just consistency, as we always say. But Zach, I mean, I think having a goalie goal like that, having us score four unanswered goals, like that can really be a turning point in the season, don't you think?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. It can be.
I wonder, are we? I think we might come back to October 30th. The last day or October, no, November
November.
30th. November, and say, remember when we beat the Lightning and Tristan Jarry, scored a goal. I think that's going to definitely like rejuvenate the group. I mean, we got the Flyers coming up on Saturday, Zach, and dude,
Boo.
I mean, that's always a battle, man,
Battle of
against
Pennsylvania.
Philadelphia. Yeah, no, and I mean, I'm just excited for the rest of the Penguins season, man. I
Yeah.
mean, do you have any like I think, Zach, like obviously it's an 82 game season and they're going to be but I like after that, and I know it was an empty net, but like after Jari's a guy that just he had a stellar stellar game against Tampa Bay, and I think a lot of times Jerry sometimes gets the short end of the stick a little bit, but I think that I can't. I honestly, and I don't want to seem super, too confident. I don't see the Penguins losing against Philadelphia after
Don't
that
say
performance.
that.
What's up?
Don't say that.
I know, because we have been down this road before, Zach. But I think
Correct.
if we can continue to get production from the third line, from the
Oh,
fourth,
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, like
Love those two lines. Love them.
that's what's gonna make us we always say this, Zach. The depth is what's gonna make us a deep playoff team. So we gotta continue to do, I mean, and that's what got us down the stretch in Tampa. Tampa ran out of gas and we had a little bit more left in the tank. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that Tampa victory, well, I will stipulate it is only one game. However,
Sure. Yes.
I do think that can be and is a spark for this team to turn it around in the future here. So we will look forward to seeing how that progresses. And now over to Danny for some Pitt basketball coverage. Daniel.
For sure, Zach. No. And I just, again, I love the December, November um time frame because it's just so many different sports going on. We can pivot directly between hockey and basketball and football. It's just a great time of year. But yeah, Zach, as you mentioned, buddy, Pitt basketball. Pitt has struggled in their last two games against Florida and Missouri, and those are definitely better teams than Pitt played in the opening five games. We scored 100 plus points twice, but we can't do that against teams like Missouri and Florida because they're other Power Five teams that have similar similar players to us, and just the biggest thing with the Missouri game. Was I think that Missouri just executed better down the stretch, right? I think that, you know, um, Missouri just um, had a little bit more than Pitt did. Um, and I think that Pitt, what I am super intrigued, and obviously it would be great if the Panthers were 7-0 right now, heading into undefeated Clemson on Sunday, a battle of the undefeateds. That's obviously not the case, but um, Pitt was down by 8 with like 3 minutes to go or something like that, and they ended up getting the game tied or within two when there was a minute and a half left because Blake Hinson and Bub Carrington. Blake Hinson had a couple big shots, and guys like Bub Carrington and Ishmael Leggett, came up with really good defensive stops too. So I was that's super encouraging to see. You know, um, just because I do. Jeff Capel said he thinks this team's got a chance. A chance to do something special. And I think we definitely do have that chance. I definitely agree with Coach Capel. The biggest thing that the Panthers have got to focus on for Florida, I think, is just not getting beat down the floor in transition because that's been a theme for us these past couple games. We've kind of been slow getting back, and that's kind of burned us. So I just would love to see Jorge and Guillermo Diaz Graham unlock that extra gear that they have because I know they have it. They both repeatedly show flashes of brilliance in their games, but a lot of but in the Missouri game, for example, they only had like um with 2 and 5 points respectively. You know, and I think you just got to get those guys more attempts. You got to get Federico continue to get Federico the ball. because he only had 3 points. So you need production from that big man. So I'm gonna be super. What I'm gonna be looking for against Clemson is just I want to see production from the big guys. I think if we can do that, we have shot makers around those guys. So if we can continue to rebound the basketball and not get beat down the floor in transition, I really, really like what I see with this team. But obviously, those are two major areas, and Pitt has not been able to find a way to win against the only two Power Five teams that they faced. So I am hoping for the best, but also, Pitt's gotta improve on some things for sure. But yeah.
All right, now, lastly, we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They play the Arizona Cardinals at home on Sunday at 1 p.m. Danny, just your thoughts on the game and what the Steelers need to do to continue their winning ways after defeating uh is it Baltimore? No, Cincy.
Yes sir, yes sir.
Cincinnati 16-10 last week.
Yeah, Zach. The Steelers, I think their biggest uh key to victory here is just going to be, you know, can we continue to build on the offensive success of last week? Can Kenny Pickett continue to make the right progressions? But Zach, can we score more points than 16? You know, and Arizona is a team that's they're 2-10 at the moment. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're in tank mode here. Um, but as much as like um, you know, as much as the Cardinals are struggling, the Steelers definitely cannot overlook them. And we
Nope.
and we always tend to play to the level of our opponent. So I would not be surprised if this is a close game,
Yeah,
even though
yeah. This could be a Tomlin game here.
yeah, even though we know that we are better, our record shows that than Arizona, who's got only 2 wins through 12 weeks of the season. Um, but Zach, I'm looking for I want Deontay Johnson to have a really breakout game. I know the fans have been on Deontay because he's making all this money. He should be our number one wide receiver, and he's not producing like one because of his drops and because of his liking to running backwards after he makes the catch. But I really would like to see Deontay Johnson and Kenny Pickett get on the same page because they have that capability. Both of them are talented and can be talented, especially with this offensive coordinator. I just want to see, again, from Pickett, composure, right? That's what made him so good in college when he was at Pitt. His composure in the pocket, and he got away from that. Well, these um in these last few weeks, but got on track last week against Cincinnati. And Zach, I just can I at this present moment cannot see enough of Jalen Warren because he is just the spark plug for the Steelers offense. Um, so I would love for him to have a major role, and I mean because I think that opens up Najee Harris too to be effective. But Zach, I mean, I uh, I can't really get a gauge as to how this game is going to go because um, Arizona obviously only has 2 wins, but they have Kyler Murray back, and say what you will about Kyler Murray, but he is a number one pick for a reason, you know. And any quarterback has the potential to be good on any given Sunday. So I think our defense needs to do a good job in terms of limiting the time that he has to make plays and make sure that he doesn't become a uh, a rushing threat, because that's really what he does well. Um, But Zach, I think if I had to, and I'll be curious to obviously hear your thoughts and your score prediction, man. But if I had to give you a score prediction, I would say it is going to be 27-10 Steelers, and that's giving us a large margin of victory. And I'm hesitant to do that, but I think that the Steelers are just going to take care of business, and it's not going to be the prettiest game under but the under Mike Tomlin, but the Steelers don't win pretty and nice way. It doesn't all end up in a museum, but somehow we've
You're turning into Coach Darwin. Jesus.
yeah, no, I got all these Tomlinisms, man, and I'm trying to. I guess you could call them local lowdown isms or something,
No,
man.
no, we're not doing that.
Okay, all right, worth a shot. But yeah, I'm going 27-10, Zach. What about you, buddy?
Okay, well, first I will be looking for George Pickens to have a breakout game. He was grossly underutilized in this offense under Matthew Canada. So I think under new leadership, I think he will be used and thrown to um, more frequently. And also for Kenny, I think that he will have a better game this week, building upon the blocks that uh, he has already set in the ground. And I think he will pass for um, around 300ish yards for
Let's
two
go!
touchdowns, and I believe that the Steelers will win by a score of 35-7.
Yeah, let's
Danny,
go, Zach.
your final thoughts on all things discussed on this 21st edition of the Local Lowdown Podcast.
Yeah, for no, Zach. I'm really looking forward to the Steelers game on Sunday because we, like you said, we have the ability to string together wins. We just got to continue to execute, man. But yeah, Zach, always a pleasure doing this with you, man, and appreciate everybody for watching, listening, and supporting.
All right, thank you, Danny. This has been the 21st edition of the Local Lowdown Podcast. I want to thank Danny for his hard work, dedication, and most importantly, his time and effort in making this podcast possible here today. And also myself, I want to thank myself for everything that I've been doing internally here to make things run on the technical side of things here, and also for my great sports tips. Did you like my my building blocks that Kenny's already put in the ground?
That was another Tomlinism you
I,
got there, Zach. I like it, buddy.
I don't remember him ever saying it. All right, but this has been the 21st edition of Local Lowdown Podcast. He's Danny. I'm Zach. We'll see you next time right here on the Local Lowdown Podcast.